So we'll start with a question of who is your favourite character in Frasier?
That's Niles Crane, the swag master extraordinaire. In the world of television and film, an unseen character is, as the name suggests, a character that, for whatever reason, never appears on screen. While this trope is normally played for laughs, there exists at least one TV show where an unseen character remained, well, unseen because they literally could not find an actress capable of playing the character as they were described. The show Frasier.
So you're a fan of Frasier.
I love Frasier. I'm a big Frasier head.
Whereas I've never seen the show myself, so would you care to explain?
How did you not see it though? It was on every morning at 8 o'clock before people went to school. Did you not do what everyone in the country did and just watch Frasier before you went to school? Well, the character I'm talking about is Maris Crane, the manipulative shrew woman who spends the first few seasons riding the dick of series mainstay Niles Crane, played by David Hyde Pierce, sporting perhaps the swaggiest outfits ever seen in 90s era television.
Hey, Frasier, am I dressed appropriately for something called Bananarama?
And people might be thinking, am I doing this ironically? And it's like, no, I love the character of Niles because he's just such a mood. It's like, crib a saying of the children and the youth today. Because he's just such a smarmy, witty asshole, you've got to love him. And he's played by David Hyde Pierce, and the story behind how he got cast is hilarious because in the show Cheers, where the character of Frasier originated, the character says, "I am an only child and my dad is dead." However, in Frasier, he lives with his dad and his brother is the character he spends the most time with. And I think they explain why I was saying, oh, no one gives a shit. And to make it even more hilarious, the guy who plays his dad, like the late, great John Mahoney, actually appeared in an episode of Cheers as a completely separate character.
That's a bit confusing.
It is, isn't it? But it's fine because no one gave a shit. But then the story goes that David Hyde Pierce got the script for Frasier because he was handpicked to play Frasier's brother and said, oh, this is stupid. Why would anyone like this character? It's just another Frasier. But apparently the way he played the character with just this air of snootiness about him, just completely elevated him above and beyond what even the director's wildest hopes expected for him. And even though he was supposed to be a minor character in the first few seasons, he was just so popular with fans, they just made him basically a secondary character of the show, and it's amazing.
Ooh, can we attempt a high five?
Well, no, I think I'll go. No, we'll have no last time. Your watchman caught my hair.
Would you care to describe Maris for me?
Well, we'll get to that in a moment because that's kind of the reason an actress couldn't be cast to play it, because originally she was a character who was supposed to appear on screen. And they were sure in earlier seasons not to describe what she'd look like, just her personality, so that an actress could be cast. However, in doing this, the writers accidentally stumbled ass backwards onto perhaps one of the series' most popular running gags.
And what is the running gag?
It's the increasingly bizarre excuses Niles uses for Maris not being able to attend events. For example, in one episode, he says that she was going to arrive, but unfortunately, she had a conversation with a telephone operator that shattered her calm. And in another episode, he says she can't attend a party because she is exhausted by the pressure to be interesting, which for me is just so fucking relatable, especially as you've seen after 3 or 4 of these videos being recorded in a day. You can just see me oh God, Karl, how do I cram more Dragon Ball references into this episode? It's running a bit dry.
So you start flagging after
It's a bit thin on content, is this one?
It's that just reminds me of have you ever seen Gavin and Stacey?
I've seen bits of it, yes, but I don't like James Corden, which I think is a sentiment echoed by virtually everyone who's ever seen anything James Corden's in, but continue.
Well, funnily enough, his character in it, I don't know if it's supposed to be his girlfriend. He always mentions, but you never see her because she's always attending some event or something has happened, and it's the same sort of scenario. It's you never see her, but you always hear about her.
I'm waiting for Lucy. She's got a trampoline in display.
And a favourite example of mine that is kind of an exception to the rule because he is a seen character, but he's never seen interacting with the main cast. And that's Father Larry Duff from Father Ted. Because the running gag is that every time they try and get him to attend an event, some tragic accident befalls him, usually as a result of the main character, Father Ted, calling him up. And there's a behind the scenes director's commentary, they explain that. We always made sure to describe Father Larry Duff as such a laugh. He's so amazing, he's so fun. It's so great when Father Larry Duff hangs out with us, and then the joke is he never gets to attend any event because he's always like falling down a cliff or getting stampeded by like a herd of donkeys or something like that.
I love stuff like that because with each excuse it gets more and more stupid.
Yeah, and that happens in Frasier because the writers absolutely loved writing these gags, so specifically put off introducing the Maris Crane character to keep making those jokes.
So why does this stop her from appearing, in a later episode?
Because while the writers were coming up with these bizarre excuses, they happened upon another part of her characterisation that audiences and they loved, and that is Maris being obsessed with her appearance and in particular her weight.
Well, I talked about earlier about how reasons get more and more bizarre.
Yes.
So I'm assuming the same sort of thing happened with the whole weight excuse.
Yes, with jokes about Maris's weight. They got to the point where they were so wildly outlandish, they could not be more ridiculous. Like, for example, in one episode, Niles is talking about a date he had with Maris where she coyly hides behind her breadstick. Or in another episode, she goes missing, and Martin Crane, obviously Niles' father, calls up when he's asked to describe her appearance. He describes her as thin, very thin, Caucasian, very Caucasian, because she's also unnaturally pale because she doesn't go out in the sun. And throughout the series, they make ever more bizarre claims about this woman's appearance. In one episode, they describe Maris as being so thin and waif-like, she sprains her wrist trying to put dip onto a cracker. In another one, a character mistakes her for a coat rack while looking through like a keyhole. And in one episode, Niles even says that he chases after her in the snow and loses her because she doesn't leave footprints, like she's Legolas or some shit.
I'm just imagining, is it the episode of Family Guy? I think, is it like that model, Kate Moss, who's just
falls through the crack in the floor.
She just turns and she just falls through a crack.
Well, they make a joke similar to that. I think like Niles and Frasier are like breaking into his like house after he divorces Maris or something. I forget the exact details, but he puts in a password and he calls it Maris's ideal weight, and he puts in a number that is unseen to the audience, but Frasier looks at it and goes, "My God, nobody could weigh that and live." And there's like another episode where he says, she went for a chemical peel that was so intense you can see her internal organs. It's like, I'm not kidding, there are so many bizarre claims made about this character's appearance, and they are all fucking hilarious.
Who wears a black dress and a veil on a cruise?
Ross, the woman has virtually no pigmentation. 3 minutes in the sun, she'd sear like an ahi tuna.
Well, actually, Maris never held hands. She had a slight webbing that made her self-conscious.
If you choose, you never have to see Maris again.
Oh, please. Half the time I couldn't see her when she was standing right in front of me.
I'm just like having like the worst image of what she would look like.
And that's the point, because, like, as I said, initially they were planning to cast an actress to play Maris for her to appear in an episode. And then they said, but no, these descriptions eventually got so wild that there was no person who could physically portray this character as they were described. And I think eventually the descriptions just got, and I quote, too reptilian. And not to mention it'd be really harsh on whatever actress they did cast to play this character who's described as being this like just horrific monstrosity of plastic surgery and anger.
It's just like when they're auditioning, you'd play the perfect reptilian, skinny, pale woman.
Exactly, yeah. And as hilarious as that is, my favourite part of the show is it makes the character of Niles that much better, because throughout the show's run he is shown to be like the perfect doting husband. And I think, he deserves big props for being that when his wife looks like fucking Reptile from Mortal Kombat. So if it hasn't been cut from this video, we spent like a couple of minutes talking about how Niles Crane was supposed to be a side character in the show, but David Hyde Pierce's portrayal of him was just so good, they made him a member of the main cast. And in that vein, let's talk about side characters from shows and films and stuff like that who just steal every fucking scene they're in, like Niles did, because goddamn is he the best part of that show.
Well, have you seen Supernatural?
I have not.
Well, there's a character called Crowley who is basically the king of hell, and he's obviously not a main character. He's in majority of the episodes, but he's so funny. Even though he's supposed to be like a bad guy, he's just so likable and like so lovable.
He's just so charming.
Funny, yeah, because he's supposed to be like a rival to the main characters.
Okay.
But there always seems to be some sort of bromance going on between Crowley and one of the brothers. It's so amusing to watch, and he's like one of the favourite characters out of that.
Yeah, I love when they do that as well. And is it similar to like the whole Fast and Furious? I'm going to bring it up. Where The Rock stole the show so much they start to try and downplay him. Fuck that, I hate that in TV show. Like I said, Fast and Furious is my favourite example, as it will always be because it's The Rock. And The Rock and Jason Statham, both standout characters. And the idea that Vin Diesel got so mad because the story that came out a few months ago. Did you hear about this? Where The Rock and Jason Statham and Vin Diesel all banded together for one purposeful goal, and that was not looking like a bitch. And they actually had someone off screen during fight scenes to make sure that none of them ever got beaten up too much.
I don't think they could ever look like, bitches, because they're all seen as, big, strong men.
Just the idea of that level of ego of no, I can't get beaten up too much, I'm The Rock. And I like to compare that to, I know it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it reminded me of a film that's called Triple Threat. You heard about Triple Threat?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Basically, I think it's called Triple Threat, and it's, it must be, because that's one thing. Well, anyway, it's a film where it was advertised as, it's got the guy from The Ray, like Ikiko Wise, it's got Michael Jai White, it's got Tony fucking Jai, it's got Tiger Chen, it's got Scott Adkins, it's basically got all the action stars in it, all kicking the ever-loving shit out of each other. And the reason I want to bring this up is because you think, similar to Fast and Furious, there's a lot of ego on set, and all these big action stars wouldn't want to get beaten up or killed on screen. Yeah, a lot of these characters get murdered off screen with no fanfare whatsoever, including one character who gets shot with a grenade launcher at point-blank range.
Jesus.
It's so dumb.
Is that all it is then? Just fighting?
Basically, yeah. It's a plot that holds together. We need to watch. We need excuse for these characters to fight, and all of them at some point get their ass kicked by another one, and I just like that.
I'm just imagining sort of Royal Rumble style.
I would just watch a 30-minute film and then fighting each other, but no, it was a loose plot that's terrible. And you could tell that Cobra beer had dollars on it, because in every other scene they're drinking Cobra beer. It's like watching a Fact Fiend video.
Wearing a Coca-Cola t-shirt.
Oh shit, yeah. It's alright, don't drink Coca-Cola, folks. It's not advertising, it's just on special at Primark for £3. Yeah, that's alright, that's the value of your market share now, Coca-Cola. I'll be getting wrecked. Also, stop releasing millennial flavoured Diet Coke. It's not working.